So, you think you're not superstitious. This is the 21st century after all, and yet I suspect you are more superstitious than you think. Have you ever seen a penny but ignored it after you realized it was tails up? When you're hoping for good luck, do you ever cross your fingers? Have you ever said God bless you or bless you after someone sneezes? These are some harmless examples of how superstition affects our lives. However, many others have a much more detrimental effect on the world. Many of you have probably heard of the classical wives' tale or superstition that states you will get sick from going outside while it's raining. But let me tell you, this is not true. In fact, the director of infectious disease at the Australian National University in Canberra said, while people think it's going out in the rain that makes you sick, it's actually the staying indoors. People react to cold weather by crowding themselves inside with others, which can lead to the whole entire room getting sick. Cold viruses are very contagious and will spread to everyone in a crowded space. So, you are actually better off running out in the rain. I completely understand, though, if you thought or still think this superstition might be true. It comes up all over the place. For example, perhaps you remember the scene in Mary Poppins when the children are caught in the rain, and afterwards she says, "People who get their feet wet must take their medicine." Sorry, kids, Mary was wrong. You didn't have to take that medicine after all. Another common superstition is that when a black cat crosses your path, you will have bad luck. This belief goes all the way back to the Dark Ages, when knowledge and discoveries were suppressed and fear of the unknown was constant. At the time, black cats were associated with witches. So, if a black cat crossed your path, you'd be cursed. Silly, right? But most people don't know the effect that this superstition has in the world today. Because of this superstition, black cats are the least likely to get adopted in the United States. Annually, approximately 1.25 million black cats will go without a home or be euthanized. So, why does superstition exist? Throughout history, humanity used superstition to explain the things they did not understand or were threatened by. In ancient Greece, many natural elements were associated with the Greek gods. If a natural disaster occurred, people would assume that the gods were punishing them. In order to prevent this disaster from happening again, they would try to placate the gods. Now, let's jump forward to the 14th century, the time of the Black Death, a disease that killed a third of the population of Europe. People believed the plague was brought down on them because of sinfulness or religious error, unaware that it was spread by bacteria carried by fleas. To prevent the disease and be forgiven by God, they would whip themselves and wear horsehair clothing. In some cases, superstition can get so out of hand that people will lose all sense of reason. One case in particular is the Salem witch trials. 14 women, 5 men, and 2 dogs were executed for practicing witchcraft. However, research shows us these people were singled out because of their different views and lifestyles. Although all the superstitions I have mentioned seem to have negative effects on the world, not all superstitions are bad. For instance, the superstition that states if you open an umbrella and door or walk under a ladder, you will have bad luck. Well, duh. First of all, the chances of you opening an umbrella indoors and not poking someone's eye is very unlikely. And what happens when the ladder falls on you? I'm not saying being superstitious is always wrong. I'm just warning you about the consequences that come with it. Every day, we encounter superstition, but we don't always recognize it for what it is. Now that you've thought about it, will you still avoid picking up pennies with the tails facing up, or cross your fingers before getting a test back, or stay at home just because it's raining outside? I'm sure you will, for we were brought up to follow these social conventions and to believe in superstitions, even though they seem irrational and sometimes silly. It is important to be conscious of what is based on superstition or based on reason and truth. Then we can be aware of where our behaviors come from and change them for the better. So in the end, there may be no need to avoid that black cat. Thank you.